What's up, everybody? The combine has come and gone. Lots of new shakeups. Trent McDuffie is now a Ram, and we're going to get into this mock draft. Let's go. I'm not going to explain why Mendoza is the number one pick. He is the Heisman winner and national champion. So, number two overall pick for the Jets, I'm going to still stick with Arvell Reese. Arvell Reese at the combine proved that he's athletic. You see it on film, and I feel like that's a direction the Jets will go. It's definitely going to be a pass rusher after they traded away Jermaine Johnson for Tavondre Sweat. It's going to be Reese, Bain, or Bailey, and I feel like the most upside here is Arvell Reese. Now for Arizona, one of the biggest winners of the combine, I'm going to go with here, Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love, we already knew that he was a great player from the tape at Notre Dame. Definitely the best offensive player in this draft. Not named Fernando Mendoza, but he looked great at Notre Dame. He ran a 4.3 at the combine, did all the drills, looked very athletic, very phenomenal. He has good size, good speed, everything you'd want in a running back. The Cardinals just got rid of James Conner. I think Jeremiah Love would be a great fit, and I think that the Cardinals love Jeremiah Love. So we'll go with him at 3. Now with the Titans. I'm going to give the Titans David Bailey. I feel like they would have liked Jeremiah Love if he got to them, but David Bailey is a great pass rusher. I think that they're going to like Bailey over Ruben Bain. I've seen Bailey mocked higher than Bain a lot. I've even seen Bailey at 2. So we're going to give the Titans David Bailey. Now, number 5. The real winner of the combine was none other than Sonny Styles. The Giants just released Bobby Okereke. They're in need of a linebacker. They were in need of a linebacker even before Okereke was released. Now, they could trade for a linebacker. I've heard some rumors about that, but I don't think that that's going to change this pick at all. Sonny Styles is a freak athlete. The tape is there. He's a great linebacker with a safety background. And his combine metrics were just too good to pass up. Elite speed, elite size, elite jumping, elite strength, elite tackling, anything you'd want in a linebacker he has. So the Giants get a great one at number 5. Now for Cleveland. Cleveland got rid of their entire offensive line. All 5 positions will be new heading into next year. They traded for Titus Howard, but that's not enough. They're going to need to get an offensive lineman early here at 6, and I think Spencer Fano is going to be the pick here. They just need offensive line so badly. So I'm going to give them what many believe to be the best offensive lineman in this class, Spencer Fano. Now at 7 for the Commanders, I'm going to go with Ruben Bain. He could fall a little bit lower than this. I'm not sure how much lower because he's still a great player with great production, with great traits, but he has kind of short arms, and that's very important for a defensive lineman, especially an edge rusher, with the hand fighting with the offensive tackles. I don't think that that matters for Bain at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if teams don't care about this either and he goes higher, maybe even at 2 or 4. But I'm going to give them Bain here. And I think that Bain is a better player than David Bailey and maybe even Arvell Reese. But what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing is that he will fall a little bit below those guys. So Washington would be lucky to get a guy like Ruben Bain here. Now for New Orleans at 8. I'm going to give them Carnell Tate. They need wide receiver really badly. They traded away Rashid Shaheed to the Super Bowl champion Seahawks. And Chris Olave is their current wide receiver one, and he gets hurt quite a lot. And besides him, they don't have many options on offense for Shuck to throw it to. So I think grabbing Carnell Tate, who many believe to be the best wide receiver in this class, would be great for Tyler Shuck's development, and they just need weapons badly. So got to snag one here early. Now for the Chiefs. They just traded away Trent McDuffie about 2 hours ago to the Rams for a first round pick, the 29th pick in this draft, and some more. And I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, they just traded away their cornerback. They got to take Mansour Delane here at 9. And I don't think that's necessarily true. And I think that would be a mistake, in all honesty, if they took Delane here. You don't trade away a premier player and then draft a player of the same position at a high pick like pick 9. You're going to want to get a more valuable position for a more valuable pick. So I don't think they go Delane here, and I think that would be stupid if they did. What they'd rather do is take a more valuable position, one that they just lost in Jawan Taylor, their right tackle, who was never good to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. They're going to go Maui Noah here. Phenomenal right tackle. He looked great in the college football playoff, and that would be an immediate boost to their offensive line. And I don't care if they don't have any cornerbacks. They can get one later in the draft. There's plenty of good cornerbacks that you can get down the line, like maybe Avion Terrell, Brandon Cisse, even there's some others. But offensive line is going to be the position that they want to attack most. Now for the Bengals, Caleb Downs is going to be the pick. Downs was flagged as having a degenerative ACL. To be honest, I'm not worried about that. People compare it to Will Johnson last year and how he fell. Will Johnson is not the prospect that Caleb Downs is. Caleb Downs is a much better prospect than Will Johnson, and Will Johnson had a known injury history, and Caleb Downs doesn't. This report really does not bother me because Downs wasn't injured that often in college. And I think that the Bengals could take a defensive lineman here. That's certainly a possibility with Trey Hendrickson leaving, but with how good Caleb Downs is, it'd be really hard to pass up on him if you're the Bengals, even with the reports that he might be injury prone. But I think that's worth it to take a shot on, especially with how bad the Bengals safeties have been and how Geno Stone will be leaving. I do think that they're going to pick up a safety in free agency, but as of right now, Downs is a pick. Now for Miami. No more Tua, no more Tyreek Hill. I think they go with Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon just feels like the kind of guy that Miami would like. He's kind of strange if you saw his combine interviews, but you want a wide receiver that's kind of insane. I think that's true. Wide receivers kind of got to be a little insane, and Makai Lemon is a little insane. He's a little undersized, but he has all the tools to be a great wide receiver in the league. He's got speed. He's got the contested catch ability. He's got the separation. He's got everything you want in a wide receiver, and I think Makai Lemon brings a much needed presence to a really understaffed wide receiver core in Miami now that Tyreek Hill is gone. I could see them going to Lane at 11 because they do need corners pretty badly, but I like Makai Lemon there. Now for Dallas, I will have them taking Mansour Delane. I've heard reports that Delane is their number one target at 12, and if they don't get Delane, they will trade back. But I think in this scenario, they will get Delane. So they win there after they lost Trayvon Diggs, after they released him last year. Now for the Rams at number 13, they keep this pick after getting Trent McDuffie. So they're definitely not going to go corner here now, but they did have their tackle Rob Havenstein retire this season. So I think they go tackle here, and the best tackle left is Monroe Freeling, who has been rising up draft boards. He looked great at the Senior Bowl, at the Combine, and he's huge. He's athletic. He's everything you want in a left tackle. And Matthew Stafford is probably on his way out, so you want to give him some protection. And Monroe Freeling can do just that. Now for Baltimore. They're going to take Vega Ioane. I feel like this feels like it should happen. The Ravens have had problems at guard for a long time. Vega Ioane is far and away the best guard in this draft. And this will give Lamar some much needed protection on the inside and even help Derrick Henry. And this is a steal for the Ravens to be in this position and get their biggest position of need here. Now for Tampa Bay, another big winner of the Combine, Kenyon Sadiq. He ran the fastest 40 of any tight end in a very long time. And many are saying, oh, well, Kenyon Sadiq's not a tight end. He's just a wide receiver. Well, he's a damn good one. Kenyon Sadiq will bring much needed boost to the tight end room. They're losing Cade Otton this offseason, so Kenyon Sadiq would be an instant starter and an instant weapon for Baker in that offense. Now for the Jets. They picked Arvell Reese earlier. I'm going to give him a wide receiver here. It's going to be Jordan Tyson. I could definitely see Tyson falling a lot further than 16 just because of his injury history, but to me, Tyson, skill-wise, is in the same category as Carnell Tate, in the same category as Mekhi Lemon. And those guys are really the top 3 wide receivers in this class. The Jets have Garrett Wilson. They have Adonai Mitchell. But besides that, they need a third wide receiver, and I think Jordan Tyson could be just that for the Jets because you're not going to find a wide receiver of this caliber later in the draft. I think it would be wise for the Jets to take Tyson now, even with the injury history. Now for Detroit, speaking of injury history, Jermod McCoy. I'm actually very worried about McCoy because he was supposed to test at the Combine, and he said that his body wasn't ready yet. Even though it's been 450 days since his ACL injury, most people would be ready by now, which concerns me that it might be worse than we think. But McCoy in 2024 looked phenomenal. Could be an all-around top 5 player in this class if he wasn't injured. The Lions have missed a lot on their cornerback picks as of recently, and they need something to go their way in that room. It's one of their biggest needs. I think taking a swing on McCoy here could be the move for them. Now for Minnesota, I'm going to go Caleb Banks. I'm not sure how much I like this pick for them, but they are losing Javon Hargrave. In all likelihood, they're going to lose Jonathan Grenard. They need help on the defensive line. Caleb Banks is far and away the best defensive lineman left. Huge run stuffer. He's very athletic. Showed out at the Combine. For his size, he can run. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes higher than this. So I think that would be a good pick for Minnesota for a team that really needs to bolster their defensive line a bit. Now for Carolina, I'm going to go Keldrick Falk. Keldrick Falk is another guy who's very athletic, who had a decent amount of production in college. He's only 20 years old. He lacks a little bit of bend that you'd like to see in a speed rusher, but he's got potential. And a lot of people compare Falk to a guy like Shamar Stewart, which is why a lot of people have been mocking Falk to the Bengals. I'd not be happy about that if that happened, but Keldrick Falk could end up being a good player. He had more production than Shamar Stewart, and he's got a lot of traits that are very favorable in an edge rusher. And the Panthers need some help on that defensive line after they traded away Brian Burns a few years ago. So they're hoping that he will turn out like Brian Burns. Now for Dallas, big winner at the combine, Dylan Thieneman. Ran a 3.4, looked very athletic. His footwork looked great. The film in college showed the same thing. He has great ball skills. And I think that he is going to rise up draft boards. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys picked Thieneman at 12 instead of 20. I think that that's a great pick for them. Going back to back, they get Delane and Thieneman to really bolster their defensive back room. That's two great picks for them. Now for 21 with the Steelers, they traded away Pickens last offseason. They're still looking for a second wide receiver. And a wide receiver that I think really fits their archetype is Denzel Boston. He's big like DK Metcalf. He's got a little bit more separation than Metcalf. He's just a guy that the Steelers really like and I think would really want in their offense. It would fit their scheme perfectly. And I could definitely see this as a bit of a reach for Pittsburgh, but I think that they'll really fall in love with Denzel Boston over the next month or so. Now for the Chargers. They really need offensive line. However, I don't see a lot of great offensive linemen here. I could see maybe you take Caden Proctor, but there's some question marks there. You could take Emmanuel Pregnon, Chase Basantis, but those guys aren't projected to go until later. I think that they'd rather stick here and take a secondary position of need like defensive tackle and take Peter Woods. Peter Woods has fallen off of draft boards. He was a bona fide top 10 pick about a month or so ago. Not so much now. His production fell off in the past year, and so is his position on draft boards. I still think that he has a lot of potential. He can stop the run. He's got some pass rush ability, even though his production fell off. And I think that the Chargers would be happy with him here at 22. Now for the Eagles, this is a popular mock for the Eagles, Caden Proctor. He just fits what they like in a guard, converted tackle who's huge and athletic, much like Mekhi Becton was when they won the Super Bowl. I think that they can slide Caden Proctor in at right guard, and that would complete their offensive line. And who knows, maybe when Lane Johnson retires here in the next year or two, probably they can slide him back to right tackle. We'll see. Now for Cleveland. I think Cleveland has to make it a priority to get Shador or whoever is quarterback, probably Shador, some weapons. I'm going to go with KC Concepcion here. He's the best wide receiver left on the board. Big, deep threat. Somebody that Shador can find way downfield. They need some weapons. Jerry Jeudy fell off. And Harold Fandon was okay, but they need more weapons in there badly. They already picked an offensive lineman earlier, so I think they're going to take a wide receiver at 24. Now for Chicago. They're looking at trading away Gervon Dexter. Maybe they're going to bring in Max Crosby to help on the defensive line. But as for right now, I think that they're going to want some interior defensive line help. And far and away, the best one left now that Caleb Banks and Peter Woods is gone is Caden McDonald. He is a nose tackle, but he has some ability to pass rush. And you plug him in there in your biggest hole, and that would work. That would work out well for the Bears, who desperately need interior defensive line help. Now for the Bills, I really like this fit for them. CJ Allen. They need a linebacker. Matt Milano is leaving in free agency, and they need to replace him somehow. I think all the wide receivers that they would have wanted here are gone. I could see them maybe taking an edge rusher like Cassius Howell or maybe even Akeem Mesidor, but I don't really see that here. I think they'd rather go linebacker. CJ Allen is a guy that could go a lot higher than this just based on the linebackers in this class. After Sonny Styles, it's pretty thin. So I think that the Bills go with CJ Allen at 26. Now for San Francisco, I'm going to go with Emmanuel McNeil Warren at 27. He's big, he's fast, he hits hard, and he's got everything you want in a safety. I think the only knock on him really is that he went to Toledo. He wasn't playing elite competition like, say, Caleb Downs or Dylan Thieneman. So he's going to fall a little bit past them, but he's got all the talent, all the skills, all the measurables you want in a safety. And they need a safety after they lost Talanoa Hufanga just a year ago. And I think that he'll fit in well in that San Francisco defense, who desperately needs some more juice. Now for Houston, I like this fit a lot for them. Lee Hunter, kind of local guy, being from Texas Tech, going to the Texans. He's the best interior defensive lineman left after the Bears pick Caden McDonald. And I just think that that's the best move for the Texans. They could take an interior offensive lineman, like, say, Pregnon or Basantis, but I don't think that they're going to do that. So I'm going to have him take Lee Hunter there. That seems like a very popular mock, and yeah, I feel like that's a good fit. Now for Kansas City, they got this trade from the Rams, this pick from the Rams when they traded away their cornerback earlier today. I had them take Francis Mauigoa earlier. I do think that they go cornerback now, and they're lucky that a good one fell to them here. This is why I was saying that it would be dumb to take Delane that high, because there will be good cornerbacks that are left. Like you have Terrell Cisse, Colton Hood, Keith Abney, Keontae Scott, maybe even D'Angelo Pons down here in the later picks. It would be stupid not to take a more premier position at number 9 when you have Avion Terrell here at 29. Had to replace Trent McDuffie somehow. Now for Denver. I feel like Denver's biggest need is going to be linebacker. Now that Kenyon Sadiq is off the board, I've had him mocked to Denver for a long time now. I think that they're going to trust RJ Harvey, so I don't think that they're going to take a running back here. I think they go with linebacker. And a really good linebacker that I really like that I've seen sneak into the first round in a couple of mock drafts, Cincinnati's own Jake Golday. He's a great linebacker, good in coverage, good run stopper, and I think that's the type of guy, type of off-ball linebacker that Denver really needs right now. Now for New England. They really need offensive line help. Drake May got rocked in the Super Bowl, had no time. He looked really bad. If you want him to look good again, you got to get him some offensive line help. I know I said that this would be a bit early for Pregnon or Basantis, but this is too much of a need to overlook. Pregnon's going to be the pick here at 31. Now at 32, for Seattle, it looks like Kenneth Walker's on his way out. The Super Bowl MVP is leaving right after he just won it. So I am going to give them a running back. I know that they already have Charbonnet, but Jadarian Price is a great running back, and I think he'd fit really well next to Charbonnet. Give him that 1-2 punch that they're going to really miss if they don't have a second option. And I wanted to point out for a second some of the guys that didn't go in the first round here that probably will. Akeem Mesidor, I don't have him going in the first round just because of his age. I don't think teams are going to want to give a fifth-year option to a 30-year-old. Cassius Howell is a bit undersized, so I could see him slipping a little bit. I really like Zion Young. I could see him going in the first round for sure. Ty Simpson is a guy that is inevitably going to go in the first round, but I really I don't like it. It's not ethical to see Ty Simpson go that high. He's just not very good. But either way, let's end it here. Jadarian Price to the Seahawks.